I love that top. Side note.
Thank you. And the name is Sika.
Sika. All right.
Thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are live tonight. I am blessed to have this conversation with these two phenomenal queens. Esosa and Regina are here of Women Talk Tech. Black Women Talk Tech. Let me get that right. I have to make sure that I say things right because, sometimes in the Black community, we'll skip over some words and then we'll be like, oh, it's okay. No, it's not okay. Listen, guys, we got to make sure that we name everything the way that they were named. Like Erykah Badu said, if we were made in his image, then call us by our name.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Okay, ladies, we're on a good start here really quickly. Right. So let me ask you ladies really quick. What does the words Black with no chaser mean to you? We're going to start with Esosa first.
Okay. Yeah. Black with no chaser means to me just like living out loud in your best self, being Black and unapologetic about it. Like I love how culturally Black people are just like incredibly here. Like their presence is always known when they walk into rooms. It is clear. Like, and I love that we're straight to the point. Most of us are really clear on what we want. And it's just real, because it's not monolithic, I get it. But if I were to, sprinkle a little dust on everybody, it would be that we're very direct, and I just love that our fullness, our culture is in your face always, and I love it.
Absolutely. And what about you, Regina?
Well, it's a good time to be Black. Let me be very clear. When we think about throughout history, there's been ongoing discrimination. There's been harassment, torture, just all types of just terror, brought on Black people, and yet we are here, right? Like, and yet you cannot kill us. You cannot put us down. The richness that is Black people is Black with no chaser. I love being a Black woman. I think that it is the most powerful, the most magical, the most radical thing on this earth to be a Black woman with knowledge and power and access. And so, I think it is our ancestors telling us that not only are we their wildest dreams realized, we're more than that. And it's an exciting time. And to Esosa's point, I'm unapologetic in kind of embracing and acknowledging the power that lies in that.
This is the correct way to start the conversation, ladies. If I must say so myself.
All right.
The power is exuding from every answer that both of you guys provided, but that is exactly what Black with no chaser is. And it's a feeling. It's more than just a word, and it's an action. It's a way of life for us. And thinking Black, living Black, like you said, unapologetically, it's just second nature to us. We don't have time to waste anymore to think about if we're offending you or not. That's not our job. It's no longer our job. And I appreciate you guys giving us that answer. That was just a phenomenal answer from two phenomenal women. Let's get into Black Women Talk Tech. And let's tell the audience exactly what is this, which is launching August 12th and 13th. I need everyone that's listening to this broadcast right now to not only share this broadcast, but make sure you go over there and you get your tickets. You need to get ready for this virtual conference that we are all looking forward to, talking about the roadmap to billions. Let's get into it, ladies. What is this all about?
You want to go first, Esosa? You want me to hit it?
I went first. So you go first.
Let's do it. Black Women Talk Tech, Roadmap to Billions, August 12th and August 13th is our 5th annual tech conference. We've been doing this for 5 years, had no idea that we'd be here, still promoting and encouraging Black women to build billion-dollar businesses. But that is, in fact, it. We are looking to create the roadmap to billions. How are we scaling our businesses to reach 10 million in revenue? How do we get from 10 million to 100 million in revenue? These are the secrets that we'll be uncovering during the conversations at our conference. We've got 4 tracks. We're talking about culture and marketing. We're talking about product and technology. we're talking about leadership, we're talking about development and finance. So how, we think about the tech ecosystem, whether you experience the conference as an entrepreneur, whether you experience the conference as a technologist who wants to work for a startup, or whether you are someone who is in the tech industry and wants to advance in their business, or someone trying to get into technology. We really have something.
Everybody, you just covered all the boards.
Everyone, listen, we understand that the tech industry is the opportunity for scalable and for, huge upside in terms of wealth creation for our communities. We're the arbiters of culture. We're the influencer of technology and the consumers of technology. So we need to be at the forefront of how we're thinking about influencing tech, as well as driving it with innovations that create new products and services and ultimately tech businesses. So Roadmap to Billions essentially is that. It's 2 days. It's from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. It is jam-packed with keynotes, with workshops, with a pitch competition. So we are giving away over $50,000 in cash and prizes to startups that enter and win our pitch competition. We've got breakout sessions around cryptocurrency. We've got breakout sessions around productivity and Tech 101. We've got a keynote with Melody Hobson. We're going to be talking to Charles Hudson, Monique Woodard, and Keisha Cash about venture capital and accessing opportunities to raise your first round of funding. So I can go on and on and on. So,
but I'm so impressed. I'm already impressed. So I'm sure the Esosa is going to just finish the job off right. So goodness,
it's amazing. We're so excited to be in the positions that we have been, because we're tech founders ourselves. We know the journey. We've raised money. We understand how treacherous that journey can be, and so we're really excited that we've been able to get hundreds of women first checks into their businesses. And really, I'm not even talking like $10. I'm talking $50,000, $200,000 into their businesses as a result of joining our conversations and just having access, right? Because, just being able to bring all the right people in the right place, and then, they're ready for you. Everyone's in the room for you. That's a different feeling. We create and design a space for Black women to win. I've never been a part of a space like that.
I have to agree. I have to agree.
Yeah. And so when we created this thing, we really put our best foot forward. We only want excellence for our Black women, and we want Black women to be independently wealthy. And one of the ways to do that, we think the best way to do that is through entrepreneurship. And through entrepreneurship, you can just gain so much, right? You're for personal growth, to just expanding and enriching your family, to then having a product that not only supports your community out externally, but then finally the world, because it's that big of a product. And you get to hear from folks like the Sequoia Boys, who are creating a bunch of it's a barbershop SaaS product, and they've done over 100 million in sales. They haven't been around for 5 years yet.
What?
They are killing it.
There's a huge Series A, Series B round,
B round now, and it's incredible. They've raised so much money. They're going to be telling you how they did it. We now also have Tony Ajayi, who runs City Block, who just became another $1 billion tech company. And you're going to be hearing these stories, and then you're going to be inspired and leave so energized that you are ready to take on this world. Ain't nobody gonna tell you nothing, okay? After that, you just gonna be of course.
Let me do it.
But of course, yes.
I'm energized off the preview. You guys have done a phenomenal job just previewing it, but I do have a question specifically around the word Black women tech. So are Black women the unsung heroes of tech that have never gotten the chance to have their light shined on? And is it now just becoming a fad, but you guys have always been uplifting it just like everything else in American history?
Absolutely. We think about the hidden figures, right? You talk about women who Absolutely. Women who have been doing this, I think that, I think about, I think about Jewel Burks. Jewel Burks just recently raised over $50 million in her latest fund, but she was a founder. She started off working at Google, creating her own startup, PartPick, and then that was acquired. So, and that was easily 10 years ago?
Wow.
However long ago. So it's not to say that Black women entrepreneurs have not been creating and innovating in technology for decades. The first tech trailblazer that we honored at Black Women Talk Tech, her name was Karen Bashan, and she's the first Black woman to ever own a patent in technology, and she's based in Texas. But this was in the 90s. So we've been here, and that's never been that's never not been the case. But our access to capital has definitely changed, and more significantly changed in the past, I would say, like 3 to 4 years. Even when we started, even Esosa and I started like 5, 6, 7 years ago, there was less than 20 Black women who'd ever raised over $1 million in venture capital. Fast forward to today, there's definitely upwards of 50. Right. So we are seeing, rapid uptake of understanding the underserved markets that Black women are keenly aware of and are able to tap into and translate, and also understanding the commercial opportunities, right? Like, this is about the money. Like, let us be clear, there's a commercial objective to what we are doing. And yes, it's nice and fabulous that we are Black women, but we like money. Like, let us be very clear that I love money. It's not money is not the root of all evil. The love of money is the root of all evil. There you go. So we need to understand that there are women that are working on blockchain, Bitcoin, artificial intelligence, machine learning, fintech, education tech, health tech, SaaS platforms. We've seen aeronautics, space engineers, PhDs, women from Omaha, Nebraska, coming to our conference in New York. And they are coming hungry. And they are coming to get the access and to build the billion-dollar companies that they know that they can.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all, right? Because we know the truth of it all. And as we say here at Black with No Chaser, we say it with no chaser. Black women have been doing all of this shit. We helped start it. We helped you build it. We helped you maintain it. And once again, I'm so proud to be a Black woman, like we said in the beginning of this conversation, because everything is in us. Mm-hmm. We have everything that we need, and we always have. And I am honored to just see you guys 5th year in it, showing and adding more people to the revenue stream that we all deserve, the lifestyles that we deserve. So I want to understand how you guys came up with saying, hey, we're going to do this conference, and that's what we're going to do.
Oh my gosh, it's our origin story is so random. Like, honestly, stories. we were Regina and I had our own tech companies, and we just happened to be at an event. I think Regina was behind me getting food from the lunch line, and she was like, "Hey, Black girl." Like, because we were like the only two.
The onlys. Yep.
Right. Wow. In a tech or, retail environment, it's usually very few people of color. And primarily back then, you barely saw any women. So we stood out. I mean, Black women stand out anyway, but we stood out. We like, there is no denying we were here. Okay. So it was so incredible. So we were, Regina's like, what are you working on? I'm like, oh, I'm working on this technology. And I'm like, what are you working on? And we just like really powwowed and said, okay, let's connect afterwards. And we connected, and we're like, do you think there are other Black women building like really big companies like this? And I'm sure, probably. Yeah. Do you know any? No, not really. No, I know like maybe 1 or 2, and I read one about them, so I don't know. That's real. Like, so it was a whole thing. So we ended up really just like putting it out there a week or 2 before the event. Like, I asked an advisor of mine to kind of get us a room at Google, little small room, could fit maybe 30 people. If you're really doing something right and organize the chairs just right. So we're like, let's just invite a, expert every hour and just, vibe, really learn what it is to scale our businesses, how to hire, how to raise money, how to really make sure we're doing the sales thing right. Right. And so we went through all those. It's so important. Oh, it's a process and a flow. There's some hard ways.
I'm a beginner in the entrepreneurship, so I'm sure I know you guys are way skilled than I am, and I already know.
Listen, we still learning. Listen,
okay,
we're a student of the game.
There are definitely levels to this, and you constantly are learning, and that's the best thing about it. And so what we ended up doing is, like 10 days before, we just sent an email out and said, hey, if anyone is interested, we're going to have a few experts come in every hour. We're going to talk about these things. If you're wanting to come, join us. And we got like over 300 people trying to join us, like from across the country. I was so shocked. We're still shocked because I was like, what? Like, where have y'all been? First of all, these people?
And then the demographic of these 300 people, what was that?
All Black women across the country, women. Pittsburgh, Atlanta, Houston, California. The
even
first year,
Canada.
Wow. Canada came. People flew in, didn't know us from Adam, just knew that we were Black women working on a conference and wanted to help specifically Black women. They were like, sign me up.
That's so cool.
Google was upset. We were trying to fit people in, messed up the fire code. We were like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on.
I'm sorry, Google. Sorry. It was a dicey situation. I think
it was tricky.
It was definitely tricky, and it was amazing. So out of that conference, we had people literally, make lifetime friendships. We've had people raise money from the handful of investors we invited. There's a young lady who has a company called Panty Prop, and it's new name now, Regina.
Ruby Love
now. Sorry. And she actually, the first year she got her first check from that very first meeting.
First conference at Google.
Yeah. And then literally under a year, she became a 7-figure business. After that year, she became $10 million in revenue. Then a year after that, she ended up raising one of the largest seed rounds or Series A rounds, which is $15 million from a Black woman. So it is incredible how much stories and cultivation you meet just by meeting like-minded people or having prepared for these opportunities, and you just know you're ready. And I'm telling you, you meet these women, you'll be more impressed by every person you meet. I'm not even
blown
kidding.
away.
These are the stories that we need just flourishing out in our community left and right, because it's like the narrative is what the programming requires for the narrative to be.
Right.
But our narrative is totally different from what the mainstream media is.
Absolutely.
What you're telling me right now is we out here getting it.
Listen.
Yeah. Yes, that is correct. And oftentimes there's a narrative that says that Black women can't work together. Black women are catty. Black women are, overly competitive. We're hyper, we're overly aggressive. And yet when you come to our conference, everyone is fly and fabulous. Be very clear. The fashions are in effect, but there's also a spirit of being safe and being vulnerable, so that you can actually open up and ask the questions that you need to ask to move the needle on your business. It's for nothing if you sit in the audience and you have questions and you can't, you leave with questions. Like, you should have questions and leave with answers. You should have questions and leave with a new co-founder. You should have questions and leave with a new advisor, leave with a new investor opportunity, leave with new networking opportunities. And that is what we consistently hear from everyone, from all of our attendees, because Esosa and I have been in those rooms and we've been in those audiences, and we know how it feels to not be able to raise your hand or to not feel comfortable in talking to the person to your left and to your right. And so we are extremely intentional in the kind of content that we're designing for the conference, the kinds of experiences that we're designing, because they're specifically designed for Black women, unapologetically.
You gotta add that part, because we just have to let that be known every time. We don't want you guys to assume that we're ever thinking about your feelings. We're too busy moving forward and pressing forward unapologetically, respectfully. Now, another thing that I wanted to ask you guys, since the pandemic hit, so I'm sure that was like a wrench in your plans as far as the conference was concerned. And of course, you probably had to go virtual. But was the impact any less, any different because you had to switch to the virtual way?
You know what? Actually, for us, we just lucked out with the pandemic, because our conference is usually in February. So we literally had our conference. Our first day of the conference is the last day of Black History Month and the first day of Women's History Month, right? To intersectionality. And so luckily for us in New York, I think the first COVID case was like February 28th. So we literally nothing was shutting down, but everything shut down like a week later. Right after. So we were, for many companies or many people, the last big conference that people attended, because we grew from this little 30-person group to about 1,300. So now we, really have, we welcome people from all over the world. Our last pitch competition winner was from Cameroon. Yeah, that's right. She came all the way from Cameroon, won the competition, won some money, and ran back. I said, that is everything.
Pick up the check.
ready for y'all. Okay, so it's just been amazing that we were blessed not to have to worry about not having something for people to give them hope. And then what we ended up doing now is, because our next conference is now in August, we're hoping that the pandemic would dissipate surely by now, but here we are. So we're doing a virtual conference. This will be our first one. And we're going to do it in style and grace. So we're super excited about having so many game-changing speakers and so many different ways to interact. Because we're a technology, kind of experience, we're creating something that you've never really seen before. So we're really excited about.
I know. Y'all about to do something.
We're not going to talk tech. Listen, we have to come to you with something that you've never seen.
Y'all gonna show us something you've never seen before. That's what Black women do.
Exactly.
They introduce you to originality. That's what we're here for.
Yes,
exactly.
We always have to break the mold.
Oh yes. So we're giving to y'all all types of different ways. So we're really excited about the experience we're able to provide virtually that you'll be able to tell your friends about.
So the saying is, once you hit the 10-year mark, you know that it's a thing, right? But obviously on day one, when you anticipated 30 and you got 300, and now you're here to year 5, the halfway mark, how does that feel? And what does that make you look forward to when it comes to hitting that 10-year mark?
That's a great question. I think, as we mentioned, Esosa and I never was an event producer, right? Like that. That was never my dream. I was going to grow up.
My sister said otherwise.
Right. Clearly, my plans are very different than what God has for me. And I think that when I also think about the pandemic, we have seen some huge losses of life over the past year and a half. And, there were so many businesses that closed, so many businesses that, will no longer, be here. And yet we actually saw an opportunity to grow. And we saw an opportunity to thrive because we knew that our communities needed us, and we knew that we needed to continue to provide access and to provide resources. So we actually like doubled our efforts. We said, you know what, this ain't gonna work. The fact that 40% of Black businesses may never reopen because of COVID, because of the lack of access to stimulus funding, because of the lack of access to understanding how to apply for PPP loans and EIDL loans from the government, we're looking at the loss of wealth. We're looking at the loss of, the loss of income, and we're seeing the backward slide in terms of the gains we were making in wealth creation. So for us, when I see where we are now, we're only scratching the surface. We're only scratching the surface of where this is going to go.
I don't want the audience to miss what you just said, because what you just said was way deeper than an individual thought. What you said was a community thought. And you guys, I got to rewind real quick. So what she just said was the fact that over 40% of Black businesses may not revive because of the pandemic. That means that for us as a whole, the wealth diminishes. Absolutely. And her concern is that we have to stay afloat. And that isn't an individualistic type of mindset. That's a community mindset that Black women have always had, regardless of what is going on under their roof. The umbrella of us all has always been the concern. And that's why Black Women Talk Tech is so important to everything moving forward as being Black. Yes, it's a great time to be Black. It's always a great time to be Black. It's a beautiful time to be Black and uplifted by Black women that are concerned about the community and not just their own home. That's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Oh no, please listen. We vibing. This is we could do this all day. Listen. We'll talk to anyone who will listen, anyone who will hear. It is so important for us to continue to talk about being an entrepreneur, to think entrepreneurially, right? In your jobs, to have a sense of ownership, to have a sense of independent thinking and responsibility. This allows you to learn how to become an entrepreneur on someone else's dime, potentially. And it's not to say that, listen, not everyone is meant to be an entrepreneur. Like, it is extremely hard. It is not for the faint of heart. It is not for the risk averse. It is not for the person who has absolutely no money to be, either, to be honest. You have to have some money to make some money. So I think that we have to understand that wealth creation happens in multiple ways, but entrepreneurship is an absolute, strong thing to consider. It's a strong option to consider. But my dad was an entrepreneur. So, and his dad was an entrepreneur. So I was exposed to learning about owning a business, like as a kid, literally around the dinner table, we're sitting and talking about my dad's day, right? And what he did and what new client he added to his company, or what business he lost. And so, it was so important for me. And, you don't think about those things until later on when you're like, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur. And I'm like, why? I don't even know why. And I'm like, oh yeah, my dad, you don't think about those things. But the earlier we can expose, Black people to the idea of entrepreneurship, right? Like you have to see it to believe it. You have to see it to understand it, to understand how it's applicable to you in your life, and how your skill set and your resources and what you're passionate about can be applied and manifest through a business. And it's not necessarily a tech business, right? It could be a restaurant. It could be a dry cleaning business. It could be a nail salon. It could be jewelry. Like, there's so many ways to be an entrepreneur. We want to inspire everyone to at least think about it. And then for those who are ready to take that next step and that next step and that next step, let us also give you some tools, and let us give you some fuel to that fire.
Right.
I love it. I mean, what more can we ask for when you guys coming on this platform and letting us know that we have a safe place to come and learn not only financial literacy, but financial freedom and ways to run our communities amongst ourselves in a way that we can feel comfortable and safe financially. Because that's not easy. And a lot of us feel like this information is not easy to get a grab of. But obviously there were 300 Black women that were signed up for an anticipated 30 people. And obviously we're all around. And it's all about, being open to asking for help sometimes. And not only help isn't only in form of monetary status. Sometimes help is just, I need some information. Could you give me some type of knowledge that'll help me find and gain more knowledge for me to get to step B, because I'm stuck at step A. But it's a beautiful thing to see that Black women are the ones that's running this. I'm so inspired. I'm so inspired by both of you. And I don't want you guys to leave without letting the audience know exactly what you want them to take from Roadmaps to Billions once everyone that's watching this broadcast purchases their entrance into this conference.
I think it's just such an incredible opportunity just to even be a fly in the wall. Let's say you're not even sure yet about technology. You're not even sure yet about running a business. But if you're sure about running a business, you would have been bought your ticket. So I'm not even talking. Okay. Right. Like, because you know what it is, because it's hard sometimes to get that access. But if you want to get around people who are thinking differently, who are expanding what it looks like to create wealth, I mean, real wealth, just to give some perspective, most of these really big companies, it took them 30, 40 years before they became multi-billion-dollar companies, right? It took Uber 7. I mean, like the same amount of years that you go to school to become a doctor. Like,
yo, that's wow.
Business. So this is what we're trying to teach everyone, y'all. Like, really start to go ahead and buy those tickets before the prices go up, because we're more days until we're kicking it up a notch. So you want to go there and get that now. And I just think like there's been so many opportunities now. If you're seeking the information, it's here for you. Go onto our website, blackwomentalktech.com, sign up for our newsletter. We give free, impactful information every 2 weeks, whether it's tips for your entrepreneurship journey, job postings for if you're trying to find a job in tech. We even also have news around in the area, so you can kind of be well informed. And then there's just all these opportunities, from events to people who are just giving free access to you. And so I just think it's there if you seek it, and we're here to give it to you. So join us August 12th and 13th for Roadmap to Billions. It will not be a decision you do regret, for sure. So enjoy, and I'm so happy that you had us here on this platform. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much. Thoroughly appreciated just the knowledge. Not only the knowledge, but you guys exuded power. It's something to be talking to Black women about other topics. But when it comes down to money, like you said in the beginning of the conversation, we all love it. We all love it. We all want it. And it's not money that is the root of all evil. It's the love of it. And for you guys to be sitting here so pure, so knowledgeable, and caring for us as a community, gives me warm, fuzzy feelings. I appreciate it because I love being a Black woman.
Listen.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Listen.
Nothing like it. It's nothing like it. Oh man. Well, come and join us. I mean, I look forward to seeing you there. You're gonna be there with us.
Please come.
It's gonna be an amazing time, y'all.
I will definitely be joining you ladies for sure.
Awesome.
Regina, is there anything else you want to add before we get out of here?
Follow us on Instagram. Black Women Talk Tech is our handle. Definitely, we throw a couple of flash sales, a couple of little extra goodies on IG from time to time. You can also learn more about, as Esosa mentioned, learn more about what we're working on our through our newsletter, which comes out every other week. It's chock full. I mean, we put everything in that newsletter: jobs, investors, events, grants,
Really everything.
Your dog, like, look, your man, like, we put everything in the newsletter. So you want something like that, go on and pick up the newsletter. You will not be disappointed. And yeah, just really, really appreciate you, appreciate this platform. We truly, we don't take it lightly, that there are supporters and people who want to amplify the voices of Black women. So we really do appreciate the support.
Absolutely. That's my calling. That's my job. I take it seriously, and I'm honored to do it every single time I get the opportunity. So shout out to the ancestors for allowing this.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, August 12th, 13th, make sure you get your tickets for the Roadmaps to Billions, brought to you by Black Women Talk Tech. You can go and get your tickets at the website. Make sure you follow them on social media, IG. They also have a LinkedIn page. You guys can check them out over there as well. And make sure you guys are just supporting. And we thank you for tuning in to tonight's broadcast here at Black with No Chaser, where we think Black, live Black unapologetically. We are out, ladies and gentlemen. Have a blessed night.
Bye.